My name's Kelsey Nelson,
I'm Larry Wondrow.
and we're going to talk to Larry about the ear. How does the ear work?
Well, the human ear is divided up into three different parts. The outer ear, which is primarily the portion of the ear that you can see in the ear canal, and its main function is to just collect sound, and it actually will also end up working somewhat as an amplifier. If someone were missing their outer ear or their auricle, right away they would lose about 6 decibels of their hearing. From the outer ear, the sound will then travel into the middle ear, and that's primarily composed of the eardrum or the tympanic membrane and the 3 small ossicles back there. And as the sound travels through the middle ear, you actually end up having it somewhat amplified also, because the eardrum itself is much larger than the oval window, which is at the other end of the middle ear on the end of the stapes. So it actually will end up being transmitted and going through an amplification process there. And then it finally gets into the inner ear, where you end up with a fluid system in the inner ear, and the sound coming from the middle ear will transform into waves, and then they are then transmitted into electrical impulses, which would then be sent up to the brain, and that's where the sound would then be interpreted.
How does earwax help protect the eardrum?
I don't know that it really helps protect the eardrum. Earwax or cerumen is primarily in the ear canal to help you keep a good skin chemistry in your ear canal. It helps keep the pH right to avoid infection. It's also in the ear to prevent small bugs from getting too far down into the ear canal.
What are some injuries that can result in hearing loss?
A lot of any type of head injury can result in some hearing loss. Any damage to the temporal bone. From that type of injury, you could end up with a nerve type hearing loss. Individuals, if they're hit on the outside of the ear, either with a hand, or some individuals from water skiing can end up with damaging their eardrum or perforating it just from a real hard slap.
Okay. If due to an accident you lost your hearing, what sound would you miss the most?
Probably music, because I love listening to music and I want to be a radio broadcaster, so it'd be really hard for me to go with my career.
Probably my mom's voice.
The one that I like the best, music and rock and stuff.
Okay. What sounds do you like the most?
I like the sound of like thunder and lightning.
Okay.
I like, music, people talking, birds, and wind.
Okay.
I'd have to say rain. I like rain.
Okay. Okay. What sounds do you dislike?
People getting mad at other people. I hate yelling and screaming.
Okay.
Loud grating noises like babies crying and sirens and stuff like that.
Okay.
Have you ever tried to communicate with a deaf person?
Yeah.
Was it hard?
Not really, because I had people there like translating what they were saying and telling them what I was saying.
Yes, I have.
Was it hard?
Not really, because we used reading lips instead of normal sign language, because I didn't know how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to be a box boy at a grocery store, and a couple deaf people came in, and it did not work out because you couldn't find anybody that knew sign language, and it's a pain.
Okay.
Yeah, one time.
Was it hard?
Yeah, it was kind of not really hard, but very strange, because it's really another way of communicate.
Okay.
How does a hearing aid help?
Hearing aids are just that. They are aids. They don't give anyone normal hearing again, but in many cases they will allow an individual to pick up sound much more naturally and allow them to hear and understand conversations better. And they vary a lot depending on what an individual's hearing loss is like and what their needs are. But in most cases, if an individual can't improve their hearing through some type of medical procedure, in most cases hearing aids will definitely help them, but they don't give them normal hearing again.
How does hearing loss affect a person's life? A, mild to moderate hearing loss, and B, profound hearing loss.
Probably the biggest change that it has on a lot of people is that it will tend to cause people to withdraw from society more. As you have a hearing loss, it becomes very difficult to get into group type situations where there is a lot of background noise going on. It's very hard for them to sit down, carry on a conversation. With a profound hearing loss, I think all those things are just more amplified. Again, it's very hard to go out into society and communicate. It even becomes difficult going into a restaurant and just ordering a meal, and someone will say something to them and they just don't understand.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're being filmed here.
Well, I was doing a piece on language, essentially.
Yeah, we have many spices that are uniquely Indian, especially cumin seed and turmeric, and we use a lot of garlic and ginger as well. We make our own homemade cheese. We make yogurt. Yeah, and we use fresh vegetables and organic vegetables when we can. It's a vegetable pocket, which we deep fry, and it has inside it several different vegetables. There's potatoes, peas, corn, and cabbage. And there's also onions, which are cooked with some spices. You can see some mustard seed there, and there's some cumin, turmeric. What else is in there? Chili powder, a little bit of chili powder, some salt, and it's all blended. It's all cooked up and put in this flour tortilla.
Well, it's very, German food is traditionally very vinegary, and it's a heavier food than what normal Americans like to eat in some cases. But for the most part, we've cut back on the vinegar and in our marinades just so it complies better with the American cuisine.
Throw a towel over that.
Well, I think our food's prepared as far as the Americans we marinate our food for up to 2 days sometimes to get that German flavor, and most of our German dishes are prepared ahead of time with very hands-on work rather than just taking it out of the package and throwing it on the broiler and cooking it.
Japanese people have found that cooking simple, using very simple ingredients and letting the natural flavors of food come out rather than bombarding it with different spices and things to kind of cover up the food and transform the original flavors. So one of the things that we've incorporated in Japanese cooking is using a very simple technique of cooking, either lightly sautéing or steaming, or even using raw foods, because you're in essence taking just the most natural flavors that you can possibly get and bringing those out. Originally, sushi meant the pickling of fish. See, in Japan, rice and seafood were the staple diet in their culture from way back. Our ingredients are very basic. We use soy sauce, we use sesame oil, we use a couple of different fish seasonings, and sugar, salt, and some herbs and roots. Herbs being ginger root and garlic and different things like that. And we also use a little bit of parsleys and dry herbs.
Hello, my name is Dan Velasquez. I'm the owner of Casa Pablo's, and I'm here to answer some questions about our restaurant and our business. The most popular entree is called a Tío Pablo, which means Uncle Paul, and it's our biggest plate, and we go through a lot. It's a chile relleno, cheese enchilada, and a bean tostada. Comes with the rice and beans and a salad garnish. There's a lot of spices that go into making Mexican food. Probably the most popular one is cilantro, which is a form of parsley. It's very flavorful, very pungent, and it goes into a lot of our foods. A lot of the other spices deal with red Mexican peppers or red peppers, and they're generally dried, and they have unique flavors all on their own. I started at home cooking with my mom, and then I ended up working in other restaurants, different restaurants, and finally in Mexican restaurants for about 15, 20 years. The tastes that appeal to the American public are unique, fresh flavors. I think also that appeals is the break down different colors on the plate and making the plates attractive. Well, all of our food items are made fresh every day. We prepare them all by hand. We spend a lot of time and effort into preparing the meats, the shells, the chips, all the salsa. It's all done fresh every day, and we do it by hand. Mexican food is a lot different than a lot of other foods, especially in terms of steak and seafood houses, because it's a very earthy food. A lot of the products are made from the people who live on the land, and certain areas in Mexico only can grow certain products, and their foods and their meals consist of whatever they can grow off the land and eat.
able to smell, not being able to detect a fire or smell fresh baked goods. Imagine using smell as a therapy, an actual therapy that real doctors use. Imagine using smell to detect criminals, to detect drugs, a fire's beginning, or even solve a murder. Smell is all around us, from criminals found to expensive pair of shoes. It's all smell.
And sniffing out criminals, the beginnings of fires, and lots of other stuff. Mike Nelson's here with his dog Rika, and they're going to show us how it works. Or something. Yeah.
Nelson, I'm Deputy Sheriff with the Missoula County Sheriff's Office. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 4 years, and I've been handling dogs since 1986 when I was in the military. This is Ryko. He's a 110-pound German Shepherd. I got him when he was 7 weeks old, and I've trained him ever since. Ryko is trained on tracking, building searches, evidence searches, and also finding narcotics. He's also trained in handler protection and also apprehending criminals. I guess some of the things that we're going to go and do today for you, we'll go ahead and we'll do an article search for you, and that means that we'll go ahead and we'll put some type of a human-centered article out into the field, and then we'll go ahead and have Ryko find that, and we'll also go and plant some drugs on one of these cards located over here. Okay, and I'll explain just what happened there. And basically, what we had was that one of your fellow students was just setting up the glove, and then what the dog smells is the human scent, and that's what it's trained to do. So once he detects an article that has a human scent, then he'll go down. And how it's trained for that is basically when he was a puppy, we'd go in and we'd have the same type of scented articles. We'd go and bring him along, and then once he found them, we'd put him in a down, and then we'd put food on top of the article, and then the food when he was a puppy, that was his reward. And of course, he doesn't get food anymore because he's an adult dog, and instead he gets his toy. That a dog is able to go and smell so much better than we are is if you just go and take a look at the length of their nose. Inside the nose, it's almost like hundreds and hundreds of feet of almost like scroll-like material, and in those are receptor cells. And basically, in a German Shepherd, that there's about 225 million receptor cells. And how well a dog can smell is directly proportionate to the length of their nose. That's why, like, if you have a pug or something like that, that's why that they can't smell anything, basically. And then with the human, our noses aren't very long either, and so again, they're that we can't smell very well. There, he gets very excited there when he sees another dog. But anyway, Platz, good boy. And so that's basically it. And what happens is that each molecule, let's say like if we're trained for narcotics or human scent, each molecule has a particular shape. And then in their brain, when that they smell that particular shape molecule, and then when they get a reward for it, then that implants in their mind when that they're doing something right. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you have to rewind it then?
What you got in there? What you got in there? Is there something in there? Good boy.
Okay. Like we just found some cocaine planted on the car. Molecules are a certain shape, and then during his training, when he smelled that same shape of molecule, then he's given his reward. And when he's trained to scratch at it, because what you do is that you basically scent the toy with the scent of the drug, and then what you do is then you just stand on his toy, so then he's made to scratch at it. So then that, again, that gets instilled in his mind, so then he remembers, again, the shape of the molecule, and then he says, okay, so then I know I have to go and scratch it, and then I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to get a reward.
Next, let's answer the burning question. What else are cop dogs used for? You guessed it, sniffing out the causes of fire. Some fires begin with arsonists, in which a dog would sniff out the cause, or some fires are naturally caused. Officer Nelson's dog, Ryko, is used to sniff out drugs and used in chases. This comes in an asset when the criminal is far ahead of the officer, but the dog is far behind. The officer, let's start that part. The officer releases a button, sort of like a remote control, and the door pops open. The dog jumps out of the car and then chases after the criminal.
So the next time you smell fresh baked bread coming out of the oven or
When did you discover that you were color deficient?
A couple months ago.
What colors do you have trouble seeing?
I have trouble seeing reds and greens. They turn grays. Bright reds and bright greens are especially hard, but the darker ones are a little darker, so I can tell the difference just because I know the shades of gray.
How have you adjusted to this?
I guess I've always been adjusted to it because I didn't know I was colorblind until a couple months ago, so.
Have people been discriminative against you?
Not really. Some people, like to joke with me. They like to, play and make jokes about it and stuff like that, but it's all taken in good humor.
You just have to start wearing corrective lenses.
About 6 months ago.
Are you nearsighted or farsighted?
Nearsighted.
Do you also wear contacts?
Yes, I do.
Does wearing corrective lenses conflict with any of your activities?
Not really, no.
Which do you prefer, glasses or contacts?
Glasses.
My name is Carolyn Brock, and some of you may know me as a French teacher here at Big Sky High School, but I'm here in my role as president of the Missoula chapter of the Montana Association for the Blind. And I understand in your project you're interested in learning about blindness and vision impairment. And I think you need to know first that most people have a very poor understanding of what it means to be blind. And first of all, let me say that blind means legally blind. I know you've all heard the term, and I could go on and on about defining it, but the point is that people who are legally blind, in other words blind, have very significant vision loss. They can't drive, they can't read in any usual form. Some of them can see some detail, some of them see color, some can walk around without a cane, some don't. We're all different. It's like anyone else. Most people think that if they just close their eyes or mess up their vision somehow, put wax paper over their glasses or pull a sock over their head or something, that would give them an idea of what it must be like to be blind. And in fact, you see every year these simulation activities, especially during the month of March, which is National Disabilities Awareness Month, all kinds of crazy things going on with people scooting around in wheelchairs for a day and groping around with a blindfold on and tying their hands down and all this. And the truth is that does not give you an idea at all of what it's like to be blind, or probably to have any other disability, because you don't know how to do the things that blind people know how to do. If you were to put a sack over your head or blindfold or whatever, you probably wouldn't be able to walk out of this classroom and get home safely. You probably wouldn't be able to work on a computer. You probably wouldn't be able to tell me what time it is. You probably wouldn't be able to read. And blind people can do all those things and a lot more because we know of ways to learn to do things. There's nothing magic about it. Our other senses aren't heightened in any way. It's just simply a matter of learning to pay attention in other ways. Blindness and deafness, or I think any sensory disabilities, are different from other disabilities because it's not about what you can't do. If you meet someone in a wheelchair, I mean, they really can't get up and walk. It's a physical inability to do certain things, and they have to find ways around doing that. If you are missing one of your senses, or if it's diminished in any way, and particularly I'm talking about blindness and deafness, it's not about what you can do or what you can't do. It's about information. It's about getting information. A blind person is perfectly capable of walking across a street if he or she can get the information about what the cars are doing in the street. A blind person can work on a computer if he or she can get the information that you get with your eyes from the screen. A blind person can read a book if he or she can find a way to translate the printed words on the page into some other format that can be read. And so that's the whole name of the game when you are blind or deaf, is to get the information that other people get with their eyes or ears in some other way. And blind people do that in a variety of ways. You've seen people walking with white canes, you've seen people reading Braille. I'd be happy to show any of you, by the way, down in Core A in the language lab. I have a computer with speech synthesis that talks, that reads me the screen, and I can operate, I surf the internet and do email and write tests and do all kinds of things on a computer just like other people do. So it simply is a matter of learning the skills to allow you to do those things and getting the proper equipment, and particularly in having people like you understand that with the proper equipment and the proper skills, blind people really can do almost anything. And anytime there are a few things. We can't drive cars, we can't be baseball umpires and that sort of thing. But we can do most jobs or some version of them and do them perfectly well. And I suppose I'm one example of that. But there is a huge amount of discrimination out there against us. The unemployment rate of legally blind Americans who are between the ages of 18 and 65, working age, almost 80% are unemployed or horribly underemployed in sheltered workshops, things where they're making less than the minimum wage. And so we think it's important to get the word out that blind people can do pretty much anything if we have a good education, if we learn to read Braille, for instance, if we learn how to get around by ourselves, if we learn how to use computer skills, pretty much the same kinds of things other people need to do. You need to be able to read and write, you need to be able to do math, you need to be able to work on a computer and get around by yourself and get to the job on your own. And so being blind is not just a matter of not seeing, it's a matter of creating a different reality. And instead of reading print, you read Braille. Instead of reading computer screen with your eyes, you read it with a voice synthesizer or a braille screen. Instead of seeing where you're going and avoiding obstacles, you use a white cane or perhaps a guide dog. It simply is a matter of doing things differently and getting the information.
Which sounds do you find most common?
Running water.
Which sound do you find most annoying?
Fire alarms.
Do you like to listen to loud music?
No.
Can you think of two sounds that make you nervous or scared?
Creaking houses and fans.
Fans? Why fans?
Because, like, when you're at home and it's really quiet and stuff, and then a fan all of a sudden comes on, it, like, I don't know, it kind of scares you when it first turns on.
That's interesting. Can you think of two of your most favorite sounds?
Like, the flow of water and, like, soft music.
What about your least favorite sounds?
Like, nails on a chalkboard and, like, really loud stuff. So I don't like tapping and change in pockets. I hate that. Like when people are, like, rattling it around.
I know what you mean. Thanks. This is Pamela Anderson, a senior at Big Sky High School. Can you think of a sound that's most calming to you?
I would think of a whisper as the sound that's most calming.
Yeah. How about a sound that's most annoying?
A high-pitched whistle would be the most annoying.
A high-pitched whistle? Do you like to listen to loud music?
No, I'm more of a soft music, quiet.
Thanks. This is... I forgot her last name.
Nichols.
Lexi Nichols. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. All right, okay, ready? This is Lexi Nichols, a junior at Big Sky High School. Lexi, can you think of a sound that's most calming to you?
Most common to me?
Calming.
Calming. Birds singing.
Birds singing? What sound is most annoying?
Fingernails on a chalkboard.
Do you like to listen to loud music?
No.
Can you tell me, like, two sounds that make you nervous or scared?
Breathing and, like, wind.
Breathing, like hard breathing? Breathing or?
Like hard, scary breathing.
And wind?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Andy Wright.
Andy Wright, and you're a sophomore?
Yeah.
What sound do you think is most calming?
Probably wind blowing.
Wind blowing? What about annoying?
Probably like my mom screaming at me.
Do you like to listen to loud music?
Yeah.
Can you think of two sounds that make you nervous or scared?
My alarm clock going off and like the toilet flushing when I'm in the shower.
The toilet flushing?
Yeah,
Why?
when I'm in the shower.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, what's your name?
Lee Tiffin.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
So you're a junior?
Yeah.
What sound do you find most calming?
Probably ocean waves.
What about most annoying?
Tapping.
Tapping? Do you like to listen to loud music?
Yeah.
Can you think of one of your most favorite sounds?
Birds.
Birds? Yeah. How about your least favorite sounds?
Squeaky shoes.
Squeaky shoes, that's a good one. Thank you.
This is Aaron Poff, and he's a senior here at Big Sky High School.
What are some sounds that you think are calming? That calm you down?
Calming. Best one is like water coming up onto the shore, like up at a lake or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
How about annoying sounds?
Annoying. Whenever there's like, I don't know, constant tapping or like a ringing or just something that's just constant, just drives me crazy.
Yeah. How about loud music? Do you like to listen to it?
Love it.
You got a big stereo system in your car?
Oh yeah. Well, not in my car, but in my room.
Okay. Can you think of any sounds that make you nervous or scared?
Just, again, tapping, just, and silence. Complete silence just makes me think something's wrong.
How about your favorite sounds?
My favorite sounds? Anything with nature, like, I don't know, just out in the woods, hearing the wind going through the trees, or, I don't know, anything to do with nature.
Yeah.
Is my favorite.
Okay, and how about your least favorite?
Least favorite? Crying babies. They annoy me.
Okay, thanks.
Marissa Baziak, a junior at Big Sky High School. What sound do you find most calming?
I'd have to say running water.
Running water?
Not like from the sink, like from a river.
Like a river?
Yeah.
What about most annoying?
When people chew and they have a lot of spit in their mouth or something and it's just like, oh, it's bad. It's the worst.
Yeah. Do you like to listen to loud music?
Sometimes.
Depends on the mood?
Yeah.
I
like really loud butt rock. Just kidding.
Do you think of a can you think of a sound that makes you nervous or scared?
In movies, like, you know that noise that's like that moaning thing?
Like the low?
Yeah, you know, like on Titanic. Not that I'm one of those Titanic freaks, but you know when it's sinking and it's like there's that
like
moaning thing?
Yeah.
And sometimes it was in Halloween and stuff like that. Scares me.
Yeah. What about your most favorite sounds?
My favorite sounds. Schwann's man pulling into our driveway. I don't know.
What about least favorite?
Sirens.
Sirens?
Not because I like get nervous, but they're just really loud.
Annoying?
Yeah, and then you have to pull over. Stuff,
Oh,
so.
yeah, gosh. I don't want to do that. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Here with Molly Baziak, a sophomore at Big Sky High School. Molly, is there a sound that's most calming to you?
Common?
Calming.
Oh, calming. Well, waves crashing on the beach. You know, it kind of always sets the mood.
Yeah. What about most annoying?
Maybe my little sister screaming. It's
Yeah,
because
that's a
she
good
always
one.
yells at me and stuff. You know?
Do you like to listen to loud music?
Not really, no.
Not really?
It's really annoying.
Is there a sound that makes you nervous or afraid that you can think of?
The music from Halloween is definitely very scary. The piano. That's scary.
It's cool to find out what sounds people like and dislike. We found that all males like loud music, a majority of females like loud music, and most males find sounds of leaves calming, while females find waves calming. Most males find tapping nails on the chalkboard and alarms annoying, while females find nails on the chalkboard annoying. We also found that males and females find that sirens and screaming make them nervous or scared, and males find gum smacking their least favorite sound, and females find that alarm and tapping their least favorite sound. And both males and females' favorite sounds are music, and females also have wind as their favorite sound.
The brain identifies a specific smell
by the shape of the captured molecule. With every breath, odor molecules travel up the nose. They quickly reach a sheet of moist, mucus-bathed tissue where they plug into receptors located at the ends of stringy structures called cilia. The cilia are outgrowths of neurons, millions of sensing cells, that collect and transmit smell information to the brain's olfactory bulb. And with 5 million sensing cells at our disposal, we humans can distinguish thousands of odors.
How would your life change without the sense of smell? I don't think I'd be as hungry if I didn't smell anything, because I always get hungry when I smell things that smell good, and so then if I wasn't as hungry, then I probably wouldn't eat as much, which would probably be good, because then I think you would lose weight, but that'd probably be a major factor. I just don't think I'd have really a need for food as much.
How important is smell to you in your daily life?
I guess it's one of those things you take for granted and you don't really notice a lot of things you smell sometimes, but it's definitely really important, but you just don't notice it.
Pretty good, because then I wouldn't want to eat as much, because when I smell good foods, that makes me want to eat.
In fact, there are specific areas in the brain where smell memories are received and stored. Smells can spark emotional reactions too. The route for smell information goes from the olfactory bulb to centers in the brain related to emotion. Here we find responses like aggression, fear, and sexual arousal that smells can sometimes trigger.
What does the smell of freshly baked cookies remind you of?
Freshly baked cookies reminds me of Christmas, because at my grandma's house and at my house, we always have tons of fresh baked cookies right at Christmas time.
That reminds me of my mom, because she cooks cookies during the holidays, and it just makes me remind me.
How about the smell of fire?
I like the smell of fire. It reminds me of camping, I guess, because we always have big bonfires and big campfires, so it reminds me of.
What does the smell of rain remind you of?
Rain reminds me of the lake, because always it seems to rain on the 4th of July whenever we're at Sealy Lake, and so it reminds me of being on the dock